Hey everybody, this is Daniel from FitnessBlender.com, and today I'm going to be taking you through a low intensity, medium intensity cardio routine. So if you've had a really rough workout yesterday and you're still a little bit sore, this would be a great one to start out with. Or if you're brand new to exercising, this one would be a good one for you as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with a little bit of a warm-up, then we're going to go through a cardio routine, going back and forth between a few different exercises, keeping your heart rate up, but not doing any real high impact kind of stuff. And then we're going to finish off with a little bit of cool down and we'll be done. So let's go ahead and get started with that warm-up. Okay everybody, let's go ahead and start into that warm-up. This is really nice and easy, so don't worry about trying to push yourself too hard. We're going to start off with just walking in place. So just get those knees up just a little bit, kind of slowly warm that body up. If you want to do a little bit of twisting back and forth, moving those arms around a little bit, that's perfectly fine. But mainly just starting to move those legs, starting to get that blood pumping around just a little bit. If you're really sore, you're not going to want to do a whole lot more than this, just to let those muscles kind of loosen up a little bit first. So just keep that those lungs open, keep that breathing going, just focusing on getting a nice full range of motion on those legs, or at least starting out with a limited range and then starting to move more and more into a full range of motion. So we're going to be moving into up and outs next. We've got about 10 seconds left until we switch to those. We're going to be doing it on a single leg each time, just alternating back and forth. So 5 seconds left. And up and out, we're just going to do a nice slow motion. Bring that knee up and over, tap that foot, back and front, and then same thing on the other side. Up and over, tap that foot, and back. So if you can't quite do this much range of motion, either your legs aren't quite strong enough, you don't have the flexibility, or you're too sore, that's fine. Just do whatever you can, slowly trying to work into more and more range of motion as you go. So if you want to, you can start speeding up a little bit more, but again, just go off of how you feel, what your body's going to be comfortable with. We've got a squatted push-pull coming up next. So this one, you're going to drop down into a nice low squat, arms go out, back in, working against yourself, and then come back up, right back down into a squat again. So squat down, push out, pull back, and then right back up again. Only squat down as low as is comfortable. Push out, pull back, use as much effort as you can with those arms. Like I said, if you're a little bit sore, you might want to go a little bit lighter, or if those muscles just aren't all that strong, you still need to push yourself as much as you can. The only time you want to limit yourself as far as your effort level goes, like I said, if you're a little bit too sore. Just work into that range of motion, as deep of a squat as is comfortable. Nice hard push forward, nice hard pull back, and back up. We've got torso circles coming up next. Just going to stand back up, nice full straight extension through your body. We're just going to bend straight forward, around to the side, back, over to the other side, pause at the bottom, reverse directions, back around. So keep those core muscles nice and tight. Trying to lean as much as you can. Nice slow controlled motion. Limber up that torso. Start trying to push more and more into that range, kind of sweeping those hips around as well. We got a front leg raise coming up next. We're doing this on each side, so we're going to be getting those legs a little bit tired. Stand up nice and straight. Starting off that left leg first, come straight up in front of you, only lift as high as is comfortable. So if you can only get a couple of inches off the ground before it starts feeling uncomfortable, either on your hamstring or that quadricep, only go a couple inches. Otherwise, if you have the strength and the flexibility, you want to get that leg up really nice and high. Just slowly pull it up, tight squeeze the top of that range of motion. Try to keep that torso pretty much straight up and down, try to keep those hips in place. Don't rock your hips sideways or tilt them forward. Nice, slow, controlled motion. Again, trying to push into as much range of motion as you can. Tight squeeze the top. Slowly let it relax. Same thing on the other side. Bring that leg up and back down. Again, you have to, just a limited range of motion, a couple of inches off the floor, or press it up as high as you possibly can. Just listen to your body, whatever's comfortable for you, that's where you want to go. You want to actually get to a point where you're challenging those muscles a little bit, trying to stretch out those ligaments and tendons and muscles. So you never want to just kind of move your leg around. You always want to be kind of pushing to that maximum range. Just keep those lungs open. Just have one more exercise coming up next for this warm up. Doing a side step jumping jack. So we're not actually going to be jumping with this, but we're doing a jumping jack motion. So legs out, arms come up, legs back together, arms come down, then same thing off to the other side. So just a nice short step. Keep those arms and legs nice and rigid. Nice slow controlled motion. If you want to get a little extra cardio into this to get your body ready, then start contracting those muscles against themselves. So really feel like you're kind of pushing through water or mud with those limbs. Keep everything nice and contracted, nice and tight. Even though you're not moving fast, you can still burn a ton of calories as long as you're pushing yourself through it. So go ahead and let that relax. We're going to go ahead and start into that cardio routine here coming up next. All right, everybody, we're going to go ahead and start into the cardio portion of this. It's a little similar to our warm-up, just a little bit more intensive. So what we're going to be doing with this is we have 4 different groups of 2 different exercises each. We're going to be going back and forth to an AB format, similar to a lot of our other routines. So we're going to be doing each one of these for about a minute, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start my timer here. Our first one is going to be a slow burpee. So if you know what a burpee looks like, you're just going to drop down into a push-up position, kick those feet out back behind you, and then just stand right back up again. And that's all there is to it. The main thing you want to focus on is every time you go out into that burpee, you switch which foot you put back first. So one foot goes back, then the other, and walk it right back in. So nice, slow, controlled motion. Just alternating those feet every single time. Go as fast as it's comfortable for you. If you want to get a little bit harder workout in, if you're feeling pretty comfortable with this motion, then you can actually start doing a full extension where you actually hop both feet out. But don't worry about trying to do that full range of motion if you are not comfortable with actually hopping your feet. Just walk one foot out at a time, right back up. Keep those lungs open. You want to keep those hips relatively low. And as you can tell, I'm actually standing back up a little bit with one foot at a time. You don't have to do that either. You can bring both feet underneath you first. So bring both feet under and then stand. Makes it a little bit easier for those legs. But basically, just whatever's comfortable for you. So that was our first one done. Keep those feet moving a little bit. We're going to be moving on to a side lunge and reach next. So this one, you're going to step out to the side as wide as you can and reach across your body. So it's going to look like this. You step out to the side, drop down, reach off to the side, back up, and then you're going to do the same thing out to the other side. So step out or lean out, reach off to the side, back up to the center. Take your time and actually pause a little bit on each side. This isn't supposed to be quick. It's actually supposed to tax those muscles relatively well by having you hold that position. So you should feel that heart rate increasing a little bit. If you're out of shape, you might feel it increasing a lot. Otherwise, just keep pushing yourself. If you need to make it a little bit harder for yourself, just contract those muscles a little bit more. Keep those arms nice and contracted to your upper body. Press out, pull back in as you come up. Press out, pull back in as you come up. That's only if you need that extra push. Otherwise, it's just reach and stretch. Back up to center, reach and stretch. So as the end of that one, we're going to be doing that again. One more of each of those. So go ahead and stand back up. Keep those feet moving. Got another 15 seconds to rest. Restarting back into that slow burpee again. Speed it up if you want to, if you need to. Otherwise, keep that motion nice and slow. All right, drop down. One foot out, then the other. One foot in, then the other. Stand back up. Remember to alternate which foot you kick out first. If you want to make it a little bit harder, then stand back up with just one foot at a time. Whoop. Whoops, I keep doing the same leg over and over again. Remember, you're trying to alternate. Almost done. Stand back up. Those feet moving again. If you want to do either just a kind of walk in place back and forth, if you feel a little bit more like you want to get a little more cardio, a little bit of a boxer shuffle, just kind of up on those toes, as long as those knees and ankles can take it. Back into that side lunge. Nice wide step out. Hands over your head. Extend and reach. Back up. Squat down to one side or lunge out to one side. Reach and back up. So try to get a good stretch in that torso as you lean across and back up. Should be feeling this throughout your body, in your shoulders, maybe a little bit in your chest, but not much. Primarily your quadriceps, a little bit of hamstring work, a little bit of calf work. Definitely gonna be feeling it in your core. So those obliques on the outside, abdominal muscles, and lower back. Just keep it going. Remember, if you want to make it a little bit tougher for yourself, contract those muscles as hard as you can. Press out, squeeze it in, press out, squeeze it in. It's just going to make those muscles suck up a lot more oxygen, burn a lot more energy, give you a little bit more of a cardio boost. All right, so that's the end of that group. Our next one is going to be a plank lift. So you're going to be down on the ground in a push-up position, and then a sumo squat calf raise. You're going to be standing back up for that one. So down on the ground, push-up position. You're going to hold all of it nice and high, or if you need to, you can go down on your knees, whichever is more comfortable for you. But you're going to lift one arm, then the other arm, one foot, then the other foot. Then swap sides, so alternating back the other direction. Just keep that plank as clean as you can. Keep those hips nice and low. Again, if you need to, drop down onto those knees to make it a little bit easier. Almost done. And stand back up. Get those feet moving again. Keep those lungs open. Recover a little bit if you need to. We'll be moving back into a sumo squat, or sorry, starting our first round of those sumo squats. So get those feet out really nice and wide. Feet turned out. You're gonna squat down nice and low. Press up onto those toes. Let that heel drop. Stand back up. This takes a little bit of balance. So if you need to, grab hold of the back of a chair, table, or countertop just to help you keep that balance. Try to do it without if you can. So you want to take your time and don't completely lock your legs out. Keep them slightly contracted the entire time. Really make those muscles work. Again, if you want to make a little bit more of a dent in that calorie burn or that cardio, start contracting that upper body. Keep it nice and solid the entire time. Up on those toes. Relax. Back up. Nice and slow down. Up on those toes. Relax. Back up. We're almost done. Just about 5 seconds left. And back up. Get those feet moving. We're starting into that plank lift again. Remember, dropping down into that full push-up position or that half push-up off those knees. And start up. So one hand, then the other. One foot, then the other. And switch it back. One hand, the other. One foot, and the other. Just keep it going. Alternating which one you start with each time. You want to make sure your body can do all these motions, leading with whichever side you want to at that moment. Keep those lungs open. Just a few more seconds. Stand back up. All right, get those feet moving again. Got one more round. Those sumo squats with that calf raise. Just keep that body moving. Keep those lungs open. Recover if you need to. Like I said, if you want to, go into a boxer shuffle to keep that heart rate up a little bit more. Next round of those sumo squats, so feet out really nice and wide, toes turned out. Squat down, push up onto those toes, and right back up. A little bit too wide. Back down, up on those toes, and back up. Keep those muscles contracted. Remember, don't completely lock your knee out when you come back up. Keep it just a little bit soft so those legs stay contracted. Up on those toes, and back up. Again, if you want to make it a little bit harder for that calorie burn, that cardio, contract that upper body. Keep everything tense, nice and tight. It's going to make it feel like it's harder for your body to breathe. But keep those core muscles contracted as tight as you can. Force your diaphragm to work, even though your body's telling it not to. So contract everything nice and tight. Keep breathing normally. Almost done. And then relax, come back up. Walk in place, jog in place. We're doing a side plank on the left and side plank on the right next, along with a little bit of a leg lift. So, easier version is on your elbow and knee. Harder version is all the way up on your feet. So I'll see how long I can last on the full version. So just hold this plank position, just a little bit of a raise to that leg. If you can control it, get a little bit higher raise. Keep those hips perpendicular to the ground, those shoulders perpendicular to the ground. Don't allow yourself to roll your shoulders forward or back. You want those shoulders stacked right on top of each other, right above that elbow. Whoop. Feet are sliding a little bit. Remember, if you need to, you can grow down onto those knees for the easier version. But like I said, if you can, try to keep that full version going the entire time. Whew, that's burning. Just switch. Let it relax. All right, back up. Get those feet moving. We're gonna do the same thing again, but this time on the opposite side. So again, either that knee bent for the easier version or leg extended for the harder version. Gonna drop it down. Plank. Lift that leg nice and slow. Only as high as is comfortable. As high as you can control. Try to make sure, again, those shoulders are perpendicular to the ground. Those hips are perpendicular to the ground. Just keep pushing yourself as long as you can. This is primarily aimed at building those muscles through your torso, through those obliques. But actually this position, when you're all the way up on your foot like this, helps build up knee stability as well. That lateral strength through that knee. One more. Go and stand it back up. Those feet moving. We got one more of each of those. I'm gonna go ahead and switch to the easier version for this next round. If you're already doing the easier version and this is just really, really difficult, then just drop down onto that hip. So you can do this position all the way from your hip, preferably up on that knee though. Try to keep it going as long as you can. Of course, it would also help if I had switched sides again instead of doing the same one over. So we'll switch sides on this next one. Whew, this burns. Let it relax for just a second. Keep those lungs open, try to keep those hips up, straight line through that body. Wow, man, that's burning. one more full. And let it relax. Go ahead and stand back up. We got one more of those. We got to do it on the other side. Just keep those lungs open. Recover as best you can. I know those legs are probably starting to get pretty tired. Just have one more on the other side. So go ahead and switch. Drop it down. Try to be out on that knee as much as you can. Lifting that leg. If you can, go out to that full extension with that leg, all the way to those feet. But primarily, trying to focus on that form, keeping everything really nice and solid, straight line through that leg, coming up into that body. Trying to let those hips dip down. This is our second to last group here. We got one more after we're done with this one. One more group, and then we're finished. We're gonna do our cool down. Ouch. Whew, that burns. One more on that knee. And stand back up. All right, our next two, we've got a deep squat, and we're doing the jumping jack like we did for our warm up. So that sidestep jumping jack. So deep squat first, feet just a little wider than shoulder width apart. Drop it down as low as is comfortable, right back up. It's a nice, slow, controlled motion. Keep that back perfectly flat. You want to make sure that when you do this, you're doing it just like you would have weight above your shoulders. So the angle of your shin and the angle of your upper body should be as close to the same as possible to get a nice, even representation of all those muscles working. If you want to sit back into your heels a little bit more, stick your butt out a little bit more, that's going to focus more on your hip, your glutes. If you want to lean a little bit further over those toes, that's going to work a little bit more of that quadricep. So whichever one you want to focus on the most, but best way to do it is make sure the angle of that shin and the angle of your upper body are the same. You'll get a good representation of the whole thing. Keep those lungs open. And stand back up with those feet moving again. All right, we're doing that sidestep jumping jack again. Remember, starting with those feet together, step out to each side as those arms come up. All right, hands down by your sides. Step out, those hands come up. Step back together, those hands come down. Side to side, keep everything contracted. Nice, controlled motion. If you're going this slow, everything should be perfect. So nice, controlled motion every single repetition. If you still have a little bit left in you, if you're not completely tired yet, then you're gonna wanna make this harder by contracting all those muscles. Just like I said when we were doing our warm-up, feel like you're pushing through water or mud. Nice, tight contraction through your body. Slowly stepping out side to side. Should get your cardio up pretty well, get your heart rate up pretty well. The harder you push against yourself, the higher that heart rate's gonna go, the more calories you're gonna burn. So this is only limited by what you're willing to do as far as pushing yourself. And get those feet moving again. We're gonna be doing a deep squat for our next one. Got one more round of both of these exercises. Starting back over with that deep squat. Feet a little bit wider than shoulder width. Drop it down nice and low. Right back up. Again, if you want to make this a little bit harder for that cardio, a little bit harder for overall calorie burn, contract that upper body. Keep everything nice and tight through your chest, through your upper back. You can even add a little curl motion in there if you want to. Really, really work against yourself and you can actually get a really good sweat, a really good burn going with this. If you just do the motion, if you're just kind of doing what you need to get through the motion, you're going to be burning minimal calories. So it's very much up to you as to how hard you work. You can even make those legs have to work harder by engaging that hamstring and quadricep against each other to make it feel like you're lifting weight even though you're not. those feet moving. We have one more round of those jumping jacks, those sidestep jumping jacks. Just keep those feet moving. Those lungs stay nice and wide open. And start up. Out to the side, back together. Again, contract. If you want the harder version, get a little more calorie burn, a little more of a cardio workout. You don't have to kill yourself moving really quickly to get a good cardio. All you have to do is have a little bit of discipline, a little bit of drive. Remember, feeling like you're pushing through mud. Keep those lungs open. A little over halfway through this last one. 10 seconds left, really push it. 4, 3, 2, 1, and let it relax. All right, so if you did what I was doing by really pushing yourself in this one, contracting all those muscles, you're gonna feel tired. Those muscles might even feel a little bit jello-y. So now what we need to do is get a good stretch cool down in to let that body kind of get some of that lactic acid out of its system. So this is gonna be nice free form. We're not gonna hold it for any specific amount of time. Hold it longer if you feel like it, pause it if you need to. We start with a nice slow rotation through that torso. Back and forth. Letting those core muscles loosen up just a little bit. Let everything completely relax, let it go jello-y. Let those abdominal muscles release, that lower back, those obliques. Just rotating left to right. Don't worry about holding those hips stationary. Go ahead and let them swing a little bit too. You can help stretch out those hips just a little bit. I'm going to do a nice big circle with those arms. Down in front, back around the opposite direction. Pause at the bottom each time. Remember, we're not going for a specific amount of time on any of these. This is just stretching it out to the point where it's starting to feel like it's limbering up a little bit, starting to loosen up a little bit. Some of that lactic acid burn is going away. Just kind of letting everything relax. Let that relax. All right, we're gonna be doing a quad stretch next. Try to get those legs stretched out a little bit. If you need to, lean up against a wall. Otherwise, just using your own balance, kick that foot up back behind you, grab that toe, squeeze it into your butt as close as comfortable, press that knee back behind you. If you can't quite get to this position, just put your foot in the chair of or the seat of a chair and lean back over it just a little bit to try to get that quad to stretch out. You'll eventually get that flexibility, that range of motion to be able to kick that foot back. You should be feeling it to the front of that quadricep and into the front of that hip just a little bit, as long as you're pulling that knee back behind you. Keep that torso straight up and down. And same thing on the other side. Grab that toe, squeeze that heel into your butt as close as comfortable, shove that knee back, torso straight up and down. I did a little bit of a leg workout yesterday, so I can definitely feel this stretching through the front of my quadricep, through the front of that thigh. And let that one relax. Feet go out really nice and wide again. We're going to stretch out the inside of that thigh. So you're going to drop one foot off the side, so turn that foot out just a little bit, drop off to the side, lean back towards that straight leg, a little bit of a stretch to that torso. You also want to feel that stretch to the inside of that thigh, of the straight leg, the one you're leaning towards. Trying to push that hip down towards the ground the entire time. And same thing over the other side. Turn the other foot out. Drop out toward that knee. Lean off to the other side. Keep that leg nice and straight. Just keep those lungs open, breathing normally. Try to get as much oxygen back into your system as you can. And let that relax. We're going to stretch out those hamstrings. So feet relatively close together. You're just going to drop straight down towards those toes, starting with a perfectly flat back. So nice flat back. Contract that lower back to keep that back flat. Just over as far as is comfortable. You should feel that stretch through the back of that hamstring, a little bit through the back of your knee, possibly even into those calves, depending on how tight those calves are. Just hold it there. Keep that back flat. You can support your upper body a little bit with those arms, so that back doesn't have to work quite so hard. And then let it relax. Round those shoulders over, stretch down towards those toes the rest of the way. Keep those legs out nice and straight, pretty much locked out. And let that relax. One more. So we're going to do a nice slow swing with that leg. Just kind of let it relax a little bit. Let it kind of completely go wobbly on you. Just a nice slow kick back and forth. Same thing on the other side. Just kind of nice, slow movement. Just kind of letting that leg dangle. Just kind of slowly kicking it back and forth, making sure all those muscles are completely relaxed. And let it relax. All right, good job. This warm up, this workout, and this cool down are completely finished, which means this workout is complete. Good job, guys. See you next time.